Hello and welcome to the first of a series of videos around the new Division 1.3 update. I'll go over everything that's come this update, the weapon balancing, the new gear sets, the dungeons, the incursions, everything, and this video's focus is the dungeons. So with the 1.3 update, they added these operations, or dungeons, however you want to call them, which are randomly generated, so rest assured you should never get the same dungeon more than once. And they're another way to farm high-end gear. Usually they take about 15 minutes to do, tops, so it's good for both casual players and hardened players alike, because they don't take ages to do. The issue most people have with Falcon Lost as an incursion is that it takes too long, and a lot of people don't have the time, so this is a pretty neat update regardless of how often you play. So, well, we'll just get straight into gameplay. This is an incursion, a operation running challenging with two directives that you just saw there. Directives are basically just modifiers which will give you increased XP rewards, but they'll each do their own little thing. So, Fog of War, for example, removes the minimap. So, as you can see here, this is one of the random loot crates on the map. As I'm aware, I don't think they scale yet to the difficulty, but I'm not 100% sure on that, so I'll let you know in a later video when I find out. But yeah, basically even the objective's random, so there's a couple of objectives it can be. This one is Surgical Strike, which is basically just search and destroy. Go in, kill everything. So, pretty simple. You'll also get some footage of some of the new guns here. Currently I'm running the PP19 and the SVD Dragunov. Well, the SVD, sorry. So, I'll just do a quick, in terms of those two weapons, the SVD is lower damage than the M1A, but as you'll see, there is no reticule bloom. So, and yes, my shooting is very bad, I will admit that was pretty poo. As you'll see, yeah, the reticule bloom is non-existent, so it is quite good at spamming shots. Again, as you can see, I'm pretty bad at shooting, won't lie. So yeah, that kind of compensates for the low damage. It's a pretty good rifle in my opinion, it seems very balanced, so... The other gun that I'm using is the PP19 submachine gun. The damage is mid to high range in terms of the SMG scaling, so it's kind of up there with the AUG and the Vector now they've been nerfed. At least from my firearms rate, that's what it says. It's got a large mag, 53 rounds by default, and a highish rate of fire, I think about 800, 900 RPM. But again, I'd have to check because I've got a rate of fire mag on it. But so yeah, you know, extended mag on this gives you well over 100 rounds. It's pretty devastating. I mean, I do little damage because I'm a skill power build, but as you could see there, I could tear through targets with it. But you would also see that the main drawback to the new submachine gun is the reticule bloom, like the weapon spread on the gun. So yeah. Also, you'll see here locked doors. If you do these new dungeons, always open locked doors, because there's either a little loot box like that for tools and electronics and weapons, or a loot box like that, or both. So, locked doors, sign of loot. You might see it there, but there are two cleaners coming up behind us, and I didn't notice them at that moment in time. So, they got pretty close before, yeah, I finally noticed there's an axe murderer coming at us there. So, this happens from time to time. I think it's just random, but I think enemies, a few enemies can spawn behind you now and again, because it's happened to us a few times, but that may just be poor awareness on our part. Again, I'm not sure. That's just my best guess. Another thing to note about these dungeons is, well, this is a phase, so one phase operations, you have one objective, and then you do that and that's it. You can have multi-phase objectives once you reach rank 20, but I'm not quite there yet. I will put up a video once I hit that rank to show you. Basically, each phase, so this phase, will be split into sort of three areas. So we've went through one. Well, yeah. And then there's this second one here, and then there'll be a third. So each objective is always split like that. So you get defend generators, missing patrols. They'll also be split into three like that. So if you fail these, to be noted, there are no checkpoints. So if you fail, you go back to the base of the Tactical Operations Center, sorry, the new underground base of operations, and you have to start again. So as you'll see later in the video, you get directive intel, which you don't need to do the actual missions themselves, but you need them to activate the directives like the fog of war, the stuff like that I mentioned, the difficulty modifiers basically. In a minute you'll see our team kind of mess up slightly. I won't say I'm a decent player or even a half decent player in this game, because that would probably be me on the floor there if I had shot that. So but yeah, no, these operations they're quite good in my opinion. They're quick, they're fairly easy to do, but I'm kind of well geared. A lot of people won't be a lot of returning players probably won't be at this stage yet. Most of my gear is around 240 to 214, which is, until this update come out, the best gear you could get. But of course there's difficulties ranging from hard to heroic, so there's something there for everyone regardless of their gear ability or anything. I mean, I've seen guys down here that have been not even rank 30 yet, so you know, there's something for everyone here regardless of how much or little you play this, which again makes it really good. In terms of scaling as well, you don't actually need to run these with a team. As it stands, they scale depending on how many players. So if there's one player, there'll be, I imagine, less enemies. I haven't tested it myself, but I know it's definitely confirmed they scale depending on the players. So if you're a solo player, you can still play these, and you should be able to complete them, which is good. Also, there's new intel to pick up, as you can kind of hear in the background there. Apologies for speaking over it if you're trying to listen to it, but you know, spoilers. If you have the DLC, you can go find it. But yeah, no, you get intel much like the other ones. Their audio files, pictures, stuff like that. And apart from explaining sort of the story that went on down here, because I kind of like the story behind this game, even though it's kind of hard to follow if you don't have all the pieces. But they also give you rewards like the old ones, so clothing items, I think they are. I haven't got any yet, because there's about 55 intel to collect. And as I'm aware, I know they usually spawn one in each dungeon, but I don't know if it's guaranteed to spawn one per dungeon. Because there have been some dungeons where I haven't found any intel, but that might just be that I'm blind. So yeah. But again, this is the last stage already, so you can see that this, I think we've been about 10 minutes at this moment in time. It doesn't take that long, so it is a good way to get gear, but it's mainly weighted on the new gear sets, as you'd expect, so obviously you'll get those. Again, some weapon play from the new weapons. if you can probably see along the bottom as well in a minute, my mad skills. So that skill directive, when I used one skill, it puts both on cooldown. So it does definitely make it difficult, especially for me, because my build is a skill build. So I get a lot of buffs off of using both of my skills, and only being able to use one at a time does affect that. Now, there kind of are ways around that if you've got decent skill cooldowns, but generally, yeah, it does affect it. Also, apologies for my bad marksman skills here. Yeah, missed the guy's backpack about 4 different times. I mean, it's always, as you'll see here, it's always important to have decent communication with your team. In a minute, you'll see what happens when we don't listen to the call-outs that are happening. I mean, again, you can see in the in the player log in the side, people's gear scores. So we're kind of all over the place. I'm about 220-ish, like Tyler here. We've got one guy who's 246. The new gear score items are up to 268 gear level. So the highest gear score you can get now is about 255, I believe. I think, anyway. Don't hold me to that. My maths is bad. But yeah, no. There's a massive update to gear, so people can kind of grind again if they haven't got... if they've got all 240 gear. So it gives everyone something to do, regardless of how much gear they've got. So, in that respect, it is quite good. What else is there to mention? Yeah, this is just enjoy the rest of the gameplay with at the end here. Each dungeon will have a boss at the end, like a mini-named boss, like usual. Like you'd get in like a challenging mission or something. So, they also drop loot. So, you get, in each dungeon, you get any loot that you find in the boxes. But you're always guaranteed loot off the boss. Loot for completing the mission, and at the end of the mission there's one loot box that you'll see in a minute. So you're guaranteed 3 pieces of you are guaranteed 3 pieces of loot per dungeon at least, which is quite good. 15 minutes, you know. I mean, obviously, depending on your RNG, mine is awful, so I always get terrible stuff. But yeah, you're still guaranteed a fair bit of loot. So in that respect, again, it's quite good. It's easy. It's doable. Anyone can do these, depending on their skill level. It's all set out for that, so everything's good. What else is there to say? That's probably about it for the dungeons. And yeah, this is where everything goes sideways for us, because we don't pay attention. I say don't pay attention to the map. We don't have a map, so it does affect your gameplay, definitely. But yeah, in terms of dungeons, that's about everything. I'll do a video on the new incursion and the new heroic difficulty next. This was kind of just an overview to show you kind of everything that's going on. But yeah, the dungeons are DLC only. So, obviously, Season Pass owners. But heroic difficulty is for everyone. So, all this gear that you get here, you can get, regardless of if you have the DLC or not. However, the new gear sets that are tied into the DLC, you can only get, if you don't have the DLC, from the Dark Zone. Which, at least personally at the minute, I wouldn't advise going there, because with the armor cap, it seems everyone runs about with crazy high toughness and still good DPS. So gunfights take ages. I mean, in my own experience anyway, I enjoy the DZ, that's fair enough. I don't get enough out of the DZ to PvP at the minute. So, but there's also a new DZ bracket once you hit 231, which is where you'll get the high level gear, the 268s and stuff. So you'll have to kind of grind out a bit to get that, but I can confirm again that the the HVTs, the weekly ones, do drop 268s gear pieces. This week's one is, in particular, is one called Cleopatra Blood Sisters, and there's 2 bosses with 2 drops. So you'll get your usual Lone Star pieces, or you know, the 1.2 gear sets, and then you can get another drop at 268. I was lucky, I got a Tactician's Mask, so if you do play this game, I really advise doing that HVT just to get the decent gear. And it is quite doable because it's only Rioters, so they're also bugged at the minute, which the enemies aren't the right level, so as you can see there, I got my reward for the mission was a pistol. I got more XP multipliers, I've gone up a rank, and I get an underground cache, which, as I'm aware, guarantees you a 229 gun or a 268 gear piece. I've opened 7 of these so far, and that's what I've got, so again, that's my best guess. I can't confirm that, but it seems to be that way, so then, yeah, that is pretty much one operation. I mean, you can run as many of these as you like, there's no daily limit or anything, so I think generally this has been a really good update PvE wise, and I shall explain the other features in later videos. So thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoy playing this update as much as I do.